Hey everyone, Budget Wendy Gun here. Today I want to talk about Mouse to Complete by Art Spiegelman. Mouse begins with Art Spiegelman or Artie interviewing his father with an intention of making a story about his experience as a survivor of the war and the camp. He then goes on to tell the story of his survival, how he met Art's mother, how they lost Art's brother due to the war, and how they survived it and finally reunited again and then had Art as their second son. Although the book depicted the difficulty of his father's life, it is more of a memoir of Art's life rather than his father's memoir, or maybe a combination of both. The story of his father is based on Art's listening to his father's memory about the war and his own life with his father, having a brother he never met and losing his mother due to the after effect of the war and so on. The storytelling in the book is separated into two parts. The parts about his father, how he got into Auschwitz, and after he got into the camp, and finally the story of how he survived. It is honest, raw, vulnerable. It doesn't pull any punches in the story, and it can be hard to read at times. I can imagine reading this story beside in this comic form. It makes the pace faster, and some of the inhuman story that will always be part of a Holocaust story becomes easier to digest without losing the history behind it thanks to its art form and its storytelling. This comic, Watchmen, and The Dark Knight Returns are considered the big three of comics that bring comics into the adult sphere during the year that the three comics came out. But Mouse stand out more since it is not just an action comic for escapism, and also from a historical accuracy, although it is still a story from the point of view of a single survivor. So it won't be able to tell the whole story of what happened, but it is definitely still much better than trash like The Boy in Straight Pajamas or the somewhat better Kindler's List. I think most people didn't realize how it didn't just suddenly got very bad, and after the war is over, it didn't just magically got better. It took a long time for things to gradually get worse. The Nazi was just a few punks on the street at first. When they got more and more people in their group, it got worse until the war with the Poles started, and then they started taking people slowly as the POW. They started making new rules and taking over every job with Aryan managers taking over companies, replacing the owners that are non-Aryans. They started replacing money with food tickets. No other purchases can be done besides what little food available. Then they started taking bribes from everyone until there's no more things to bribe for. Every furniture was taken and every treasure was confiscated. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or someone poor, it's just eventually everything will be taken away anyway. They'll start relocating people, taking over their homes, either for themselves or for selling. Auschwitz and the gas came slowly at first, and they only took people with no legal papers at the beginning. Then they started taking people over 70 years old, telling them it's going to be a safe haven for them. Then they eventually started taking everyone into the camp. And once the war is over, everything that the survivor have are gone, and it wasn't returned to the survivor of the camp if it's not already destroyed during the war. Because they were captured for so long, most houses already had family taking over them, and when you got into a city, everyone is fearful of them. They're afraid that they will want to take back their house or they will want to take back their belongings. Some people are lucky enough to have relatives that are outside of the country, or they managed to hide a few treasures that wasn't lost during their capture or the war. Only a few got to rebuild their life after the war, and all of them was affected by it in significant way. That much trauma changed them as a person, and it still affected their next generation. I highly recommend this book. I think it's one of the best use of the medium as a storytelling to tell a very big part of history. Last year the book was banned in a small insignificant part of the world, which ironically only caused higher sale number of the book at the time. Well, for some, Holocaust story might be tiring or too much. I still think this book is worth a read. It is not a book that is meant for you to pity the characters. Art and his father doesn't come out as a likable character that much in the book as people who are affected by the war. What it is a story about survival, about knowing your why so you can endure anyhow. That's about it.